Hello, boys and girls. Today we are in a new unit in Foundations, Unit 12. And Unit 12 is a lot about two-syllable words. You know about two-syllable words already, but we are getting to them officially in Foundations. When we think about a word, we know that it has parts. If it just has one part, like lake, that's one syllable. If it has two parts, then that's two syllables. And we usually, in school, we say clap it out. So like lake would be lake. Birthday would be birthday. So that's what we're talking about in Foundations. You can see here I have some words, and they are all two-syllable words. When we think or when we start to read words, we want to think about the parts we notice and what we know. So if we look at the first one, I see in the beginning a U and a P. So I can try short U, up, and then I have S and E and a T. It looks like it will be short because it's on its own. There's consonants around it. So I can try S, E, T, set. So it's upset. The next word, I can see what I recognize. So I see an A. There's consonants around it, an L and S, so it's probably short. PL is pl. Ass, plas is the first part. And then I see a T, an I, and a C. I don't see an E at the end, so it must be a short I. T, I, k, tick. So it's plastic. You might say, oh, there's a k sound at the end of that word. Why isn't it CK? Why is it just C? Well, if you remember, CK usually only comes at the end of a one-syllable short vowel word. So here in plastic, it's just C. This one, so the first part, I see an E. It's between two consonants, so it's probably short. I'll try it. R, E, P, rep. And then when I look at the second part, I see an E at the end. And we know an E at the end usually makes the vowel long, so let me try it. T, I, O, tile. That sounds right. Rep, tile, reptile. Then the next one, again in the beginning, I see a vowel in between two consonants, so it's probably short. D, I, S, dis. And then the next part, you might recognize that word right away anyway, but if you didn't, you can think, well, I see an E at the end, so it's probably a long vowel sound. L, I, k, like, dislike. And the last one, that first part, ABS, abs, I don't think that is a part. Let me just try AB, ab. And then the second part is sent, so it's absent. So overall, when we come across bigger words, we want to try and break it down and think about what we know to help us read the word. Okay, let's move on to markings. So when we have two-syllable words, when we do the markings on paper, we would underline each syllable. I didn't do it yet because I want to show you something. When we're learning how to read, or if we were in school and I was talking about two-syllable words in school, to show you the syllables, I would scoop them. And you've seen scooping with our other words, just one-syllable words, where, for example, if we had cat, we know that's a short vowel sound. So we scoop it, we put the little curve over the short vowel, and then we put a C for closed syllable. So that's the scooping. It kind of means the same thing as just underlining it. It's just showing that that's one part. So when we are learning how to read the words in school, I would have showed you how to scoop them. So like the first one is na, ap, nap, k, I, n, kin. So I would say, excuse me, I would say nap, kin. But if we were writing them in our journal or on paper, hold on a second. Sorry about that. If we were writing them on paper or in our journal or on a dry erase board, we would just underline the two parts of the word. It doesn't really matter if you're doing the scoop or the line, just as long as you know where the two parts are. So the next one we've got EX, X, and this one looks like long O because there's E at the end. Plode, plode. So we put it together and it's explode. But the two parts are X and plode. The next one you probably recognize. The first part is short vowel, k, p, cup. Second part is long vowel, k, ake, cake. Put it together and it's cupcake. Now, cupcake on its own is an interesting word because it's you might remember, it's a compound. Not all two-syllable words are compounds, though. So let's talk a little bit about the difference between two-syllable words and compounds. Compounds can be a two-syllable word, but they are compounds are words that are made up of two smaller words. But it can't just be any two words put together, like fishbowl. It has to make sense. So cupcake comes together to make cupcake. If you look at explode, EX on its own is not a word. Plode on its own is not a word. Explode is just two parts or two syllables. Cupcake also is two parts, two syllables, but those parts are actually words. Cup is a word, cake is a word. You put it together, it makes cupcake. So that's a little bit about the difference between compounds and two syllables. If we were going to mark cupcake, we'd underline cup and underline cake. Then we have picnic. Again, this one is just a two-syllable word. It's not a compound. Picnic. This one, what do you think? Is it just two syllables or compound? Him and self. Were you thinking compound? It is a compound. It's himself. If we were marking it, underline him, underline self. So again, if you're doing some work online and you see papers that have the scooping instead, that's okay. It's just showing the two parts of the two-syllable word. So before we go, if we were going to scoop them, it would look like this. Napkin, explode, cupcake, picnic, and himself. Okay, well, I hope this video helped us learn a little bit about two-syllable words, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.